What small act of kindness were you once shown that you will never forget? A man in a full business suit with a briefcase handed me an umbrella in a torrential rainstorm and wouldn't take no for an answer. I still had to walk through Times Square to get to the train, and I'm sure he got soaked going wherever he was going. A couple of weeks later, I gave the umbrella to a lost girl in my neighborhood when it started to rain and she didn't have one. Felt like the universe wanted it to happen. I'll never forget that man though.
When I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, I made friends with another kid in an airport, and he was playing with a couple glued together Lego cars. Me and that kid played for like an hour with those things, and when it was time to go our separate ways and board the plane, the kid insisted I keep one of the cars, and while I insisted he should keep them, he said it was proof that we were friends, and to this day, roughly 20 years later, I still have that car packed up with my childhood mementos box. That friend of mine was a good kid. Hope he's doing well.
My husband and I were sitting on our porch holding hands and crying, just feeling overwhelmed because we were waiting to find out whether or not my tumor was cancerous. Our neighbor saw when he was coming home. About half an hour later he came over with some fresh-baked cookies. He didn't even say anything, just smiled, handed them to us, and then went back home. Just thinking about that moment has me crying again. From his kindness, not the fear. Tammy, the titty tumor turned out benign.
We were a poor family. My mom had made a point of saving up enough once to take my sister and I to the zoo and museum. We had a great day, even ate out. Then, on the way to the bus stop heading home, she realized she'd overspent and didn't have enough to pay for all 3 of us to get there. We were looking at a 6-mile walk, and it had just started snowing. We duck into a small Chinese restaurant and ask if we can use the phone. Mom was going to ask someone for a ride. The owner asks us why we needed the phone, and after Mom explains, he not only gave us the money we needed to get on the bus, but also sent us home with enough food to feed 6 people. My mom told him we'd try to pay him back one day, but he asked we pay it forward instead. It was the first random act of kindness that I'd ever received and sticks with me 30 years later.
Years ago my car got tagged real badly overnight while parked on the driveway of our duplex. We had to go somewhere the next morning, so took the wife's car. Came back hours later and my car was shining like new on the driveway. The neighbor, whose name I didn't even know at that point, had washed it for me while we were away. A good friend of mine once told me about the nice things some other people were saying about me. She followed it up by mentioning that we miss out on all the good that is said about us when we are not around. That really hit home, and I have tried to pay it forward. It is somewhat awkward to do, but I really think it is a great thing to hear.
My realtor took less commission so that I could get my dream home. It was a rare find in a great neighborhood.